Okay, thank you, Ann, and thank you, just a quick thank you to everybody that helped put this together, and the whole MMRF team. They really did a remarkable job to kind of get this all organized and get it together. So just my thanks to you and to everyone involved. And wow, when you leave this event today, I've said many times before that I really leave with a bounce in my step, just a lot of hope about the future. And just in talking to some of you, some of the comments I heard were very gratifying. Somebody said to me, it is really remarkable to see the progress that's being made. Someone else mentioned that this really is a special time in myeloma research. And even one said, my head is going to explode. And that was at lunch, and thank you, David. But the MMRF, but is a patient-founded organization and is a patient-centric organization. And so because of that, what Kathy started and what the organization continues to have is this culture of urgency, of speed, of really having research collaboration, and it is focused on answering the questions that patients have. And we heard a lot about the first today, the first to have a tissue bank, first to have put together a consortium, first to sequence the genome, first for the end-to-end solution in precision medicine. And you heard about a lot of the successes. Heard about 10 new drugs in 10 years. Heard about success about 70 trials with 35 new agents. You heard about success in 3 times, expanding lifespans 3 times. And you've heard about the success in the precision medicine model based on Compass as the gold standard. And one of the things we heard about is how Compass, the foresight to really plan a decade in advance and to be able to see that. And that, Compass, as a reminder, was a $50 million effort that was started quite a while ago and has been funded consistently. So the MMRF, though, is not just the people in our Norwalk office. There are not really very many of us, but it really is all of us. And we really believe in collaboration. We really believe in partnerships. It makes us all bigger, stronger. That includes our pharmaceutical partners, the data analytics partners, the researchers, and even the government. We work very closely with the FDA and the NIH. And it also includes all of you. All of you are financial supporters that have placed the faith in us, that have placed the confidence in us, that really believe in us. And so I just, on behalf of myeloma patients, in fact, cancer patients everywhere, I genuinely want to offer my thanks. It really is remarkable how you've supported us all these years. But I also have a second message for today, because as much as it's great to celebrate the success, be very thankful, it was Walter Payton, the running back of the Chicago Bears, who said, tomorrow is never promised to you. So tomorrow's never promised to you. And as we look to the future, it was Kathy, I thought, that said so well that she lies awake at night because this is no time for complacency. And Kathy outlined really a compelling vision for the future over the next 3 years, and it includes things like building the data bank. We heard from Kathy and Irene just now about connecting all the patients, about getting patients engaged in the research, in building this database and having all that. And that's something like a $10 million effort to do that over the next 3 years, to build the technology and pull all that together and really engage them. We talked about the learning network, about how the data analytics, we heard from our partners at Gene Network Sciences or Jonathan from TGen, or even some things we're doing with crowdsourcing, working with Harvard Business School on the CRAFT initiative, some new ways. But that's like, over the next 3 years, that's a $5 million effort. And we talked about the clinic. Daniel was just talking in the panel about some of the innovative trial designs, about looking at the immune-based trials, about looking at some that are genetically based. Again, that's a $10 million effort. And looking at continuing the MMRC, we have 20 trials underway right now, and that's going to continue. Some will come to an end. We'll start new ones. Again, that's about a $20 million effort over the next 3 years. So that's a $45 million effort right there to look at some of these new things that we're doing about expanding the data, expanding the learning network, about building the clinic, about continuing these trials. So it's a big job that all of us have. And just so you all know that the revenue from the MMRF, really a third of it comes from events. We have our events team here and they do a terrific job. It's everything. I think many of you know we had somebody that ran 200 miles this weekend at Central Park, over 60 hours to raise money, and over the lifetime has raised $1 million for myeloma research. We have 5Ks and golf tournaments, all kinds of things that patients generate. But that generates about a third of our revenue. So about a third of our revenue comes from events. Another third comes from our pharma partners, and that's in supporting our research efforts and supporting Compass, supporting the clinical trials that are underway, and also a lot of our education efforts, because one of the things we've talked about is democratizing care and making sure that patients everywhere have the same standard of care, that the doctors have the same knowledge, and that those patients get treated well. And that leaves another third, and that third is philanthropy. And that's third from philanthropy, and so many of you have been so generous for so long in supporting us. And the thing you should know is that we need to raise that money every year, because we're not building an endowment. We're not sort of putting it in the vaults or working off the interest. Our sense of urgency is every dollar we raise, we spend. And we spend it as quickly as we can and as smart as we can. I think, Suzanne, you mentioned that about just being very thoughtful about having a scientific plan, about having a business plan. But we're not stockpiling this. We raise it, we spend it, because that's fast, that's urgency, because we have patients that are sick. We have patients that need us to continue to do our efforts to find a cure. So I ask all of you, please continue to support us. It's important work we're doing, that we're all doing. And I also ask you to be an ambassador for us, to really believe in a heartfelt way our mission, because it's not only now one of curing multiple myeloma, but really with Kathy and the work she's doing at the CRAFT Initiative, we have this pipeline where we're really looking at how do we cure all cancers? How do we bring the knowledge we have to other cancers while we're learning from what other cancers are doing? And it's a virtuous cycle so that we get better and better. But if we don't keep supporting this, if we don't keep the financial support, it all stops. It all stops. And that's not okay, because we need to move ahead. And I know with your support that we will. So I have three final thoughts. First one is that life is a remarkable gift. It really is. And we talk about, well, expanded life 3 times, but people, they still have weddings to go to, celebrations, they have family gatherings, birthdays to celebrate. And I know all of you, and I have, and Kathy has, seen too many patients that have died in the prime of their life, that had a lot of celebrations, a lot of celebrations ahead of them. And we have to do more in that. Secondly, Jonathan Keats, you really inspired me, because I loved what you said when you said, if you're going to dream, dream big. Dream big. And I know we always have dreamed big, but I also thought one of the comments that was made is, what is the applause line that we're going to get 10 years from now? Because it's something that we're going to start now, something that we're going to look at and say, you know what? That was really something smart. That was something new and different. And right now we look back 10 years ago and said, boy, those folks at the MMRF that were there, they were really smart. They did some really creative, interesting things. And thank God they did, because we have the Compass database to go. And finally, I hope you believe what I believe as the CEO of this business. I hope you all believe that you are part of something great. You're part of something great, because I believe that. And we talked a lot about first today. There's one other first that I'd like for this organization, that we're the first organization to cure cancer.